Hi everyone, it's John from What Up. This video I'm going to go through how I think they might portray channeling on the Wheel of Time TV show. In this video there's going to be slight spoilers, so we'll be talking about a few things from the books and how things are done, but it won't spoil any character arcs or plot lines or anything major in the books. We're talking about things in very general terms. Again, I'd like to say thank you all very much for your support. And if you like the video, please like the video, of course. I mean, that's I guess that's kind of redundant in saying that. And subscribe if you can, and leave a comment down below. Let me know how you think I'm doing, or anything you'd like to see different, or you'd like to see me do. Channeling in the books, they can describe it as much as they want. You imagine it in your head. And I think if we lined up 10 different people and had them explain how they think channeling is in the books and how it looks, they would probably give you 10 different ways. Everyone has their own headcanon, so to speak, when it comes to things they read. And I'm no different. I'm pretty biased in the way I think, because once it's ingrained in my head I think that, especially when I do my rereads and I go over the books again, it just kind of sticks that way. Even if I'm proven wrong later on, it's very hard for me to change what I think it looks like or sounds like or feels like in the books. So for that, because of that, and I think I'm probably not the only one like that, I think a lot of people are either going to be disappointed or maybe indifferent in how channeling is portrayed in the show, because it's not going to be exactly how they imagined it. I know when they casted the Emond's Field 5, there was a lot of controversy and, in my opinion, completely unwarranted in the appearance of the actors and actresses. They didn't look exactly how, well, I thought they would look. That's what a lot of people are saying, and there was a lot of talk online about it. And to me, they nailed it perfectly. So I had no, I had no problems with how the actresses looked when the Emond's Field 5 were casted, but some people did, and that isn't because they're bad people or they think that everyone should be a certain way. It's in their mind. When they read the books, they pictured it a certain way, and when they saw it, they went, that's not how I pictured it. And I think we're going to see the same thing with channeling. Now, do they have a rough idea of how it's going to look? Yeah, they have to at this point, because in the first season, there's going to be some channeling that happens. Not as much as maybe in the later seasons when we come on later on, but there's going to be some there, and there's going to be a way to introduce it to us as well as a viewer, because they're going to understand that not everyone who watches the show will have read the books. So they'll probably do like a tutorial, so to speak, as you see in video games and whatnot, where one of the characters sits down and explains it out, and shows the audience as they're explaining it. There may even be like a 80s montage where they go through all these different things to show it. But how are they going to show it? Well, in the books, when a woman channels, she has a bright glow around her and an aura of the power, and other women can see that. Will we see that all the time? Maybe we'll see it once or twice or sometimes. And it's because it's a very visual way of showing how much power they're drawing. So the brighter the glow, the more fantastic the aura, then the more power they're drawing into themselves. So yeah, that they could show that. But are they going to show it all the time? I don't think so. I think when another woman is witnessing someone else channel, they'll show it then. And I think maybe the first few times on screen, they'll show it then. But other than that, they may not all the time, because if you have multiple women on screen channeling at once, it's going to be a lot of bright, glowy, golden auras everywhere of differing intensities. So I think they may actually physically show the aura a few times, but it won't be all of the time. Now, as far as the weaves go, in my mind, I always pictured them as cables, different colored cables coming out of the channeler. So if they're channeling a fireball and they have to hold their hands out for this channel because that's how they learned it, the weaves would come from their hand, and it'd be twiny red ropes. Do I think they're going to do something like that for the show? I don't know. I don't know how visually pleasing that's going to be in the show itself, but I think the rope idea or the cables will be prevalent. I think they're going to show an actual physical weave um, when the character makes the weaves, when it's important. I don't think they're going to show it all the time. So I think if one of the characters is doing something very specific, they explain what they're doing and they're doing it, or it's the first time they're doing it, I think you may see the weaves form as ropes or cables, so to speak, of different colors. And they would form and they would create what they want. Um, are they going to show that all the time? No, I think it would become too much every single time someone channels to show that, and not just too much for the viewer to see, but it would get pretty expensive too. Post production for this, for the special effects, for all the channeling in the series is going to be crazy expensive, and that's not figuring the shadow spawn and the cities and all the other CG that they're going to be doing for some of the characters. So I think what they're going to do is in important moments, they will physically show the weaves being formed and how they're being formed. Maybe do some slow-mo Matrix style type camera work when they're doing it, or from different angles and shots, but not all of the time. I think that when it becomes commonplace, or they're just doing things, say one of the characters is lifting a cup with a weave of air and bringing it to him or herself and having a drink, they're not going to show the weaves or something like that. It'll just happen, and they'll make the shots in such a way that the character is doing it. So they'll look at the cup and they'll, furrow their brow maybe, or whatever they're going to be doing. Um, or seem surprised if someone else is doing it, but I don't think they're going to show that all of the time. Now, as far as when a man holds the power, other men really don't see much. They feel things, and I've seen it on Reddit, and I've seen it on in some of the news groups and stuff like that, where people suggested music. They could play a certain type of music, like a dark, menacing drum beat or something like that, and the stronger the beat or the stronger the music, the stronger the men's channeling. Do I think they're going to do something like that? I really don't think so. Um, Again, if they do, it'll be in important moments. It won't be all of the time. Same as the glows. Important moments, maybe from another male channeler's point of view. They'll see that maybe when, say, someone's sizing someone else up and they want them to see how much they can hold, this power, how strong they are. Maybe you'd see something like that. Then they'd use music for that because the men actually don't physically see an aura. They just feel it. And the music could convey that. So I think that is a really good idea. But again, will it happen all of the time? No, I don't think so. Especially later on in the book series, and this isn't really spoiling anything because it is a fantasy series and there are battles in it. There are a lot of major battles that involve channelers, and they're involved in the battle, and there may be as many as a dozen, or 2 dozen, or 3 dozen, or far more on the screen at once, all doing various things. And if they try to show it all at once, it would just be a mess of horribleness. It would be very difficult to see. So I think you'll see, especially in the battles, the end result of what's going on, with a lot of arm waving and flapping and whatnot, uh, to signify that they're doing stuff. But I don't think you'd see maybe the weaves being formed. I don't think you'd see the glows. They may have special music to signify the big battles where a lot of people are having doing things like that. But I don't think you're going to see it there because it would become too convoluted, too much to see. Really fun to read, really good when he breaks it down technically, and this is how it is. He almost words it like an engineer would sometimes when you're reading things, but just to view all of it on the screen at once when there's so much happening, I think they'll tone that down. So to recap, what I think is going to happen is I think that in important moments, yes, we'll see it. You'll see the glow. You'll hear maybe menacing music for the men. There'll be something, but not all of the time. Will you see the weaves again in important moments? Yes. Maybe the very first time you see it, or first few times you see it on screen, yes, because it's something new and exciting. But it becomes old hat pretty quick in the books because it is a normal thing in the world. It happens all the time. So I think that it will eventually give way to just actions happening, and they're going to use camera tricks, or they're going to use facial expressions, or change the dialogue up a bit to let you know who's doing what and how it's happening, rather than showing all of that on the screen because it would become convoluted. It would get old to watch eventually, and it would be pretty expensive too. And while Amazon is throwing a ton of money at these shows, they always do. Like their first shows, they throw on average. I think in Game of Thrones first season was 6 to 8 million. They're gonna throw something similar to Wheel of Time. Um, it's still pretty expensive. Post production is expensive. So I think they're going to limit some of that in favor of doing other things. So anyway, if you have any comments to this, please leave them down below. And here's to many more.